So I love to put the record straight that like the letter that I read to you today that I wrote to my family. I trusted you with the generator. So how this actually came about, if you like to know, is that I was very busy in the office and then I couldn't keep up with it, so I asked Andrea, please can you take over paying ESCOM because I don't get to it because I'm doing all other bills and other shopping and stuff. So he said like half a year ago, sure. Then he was paying ESCOM and then we noticed the price came up so much. Then I felt like, wait, maybe our neighbors are not paying us enough, or they're forgetting, because it sounds like we ending up paying so much every month.
So why would the neighbors pay you?
The neighbors, because you giving them to the neighbors some
three-phase electricity.
Yeah, because they have diving industry and they need to fill their compressors so they can go underwater with their air, and it's cheaper for them, so they're willing to even pay a bit more. But anyway, sometimes they forgot. I don't know if you want to put this on. Anyway, sometimes they forgot, so I thought maybe they forgot. But they didn't forget. So anyway, I said, because since the government was opposing or persecuting us actually, since Andrea closed the business when the government was coming to close it for a so-called racism incident, that was 2016, we didn't get any income of our own. Like Andrea used to run a guest house before I came, but we didn't have any guest house since 2016, and I started asking actually my physical father, Juraj Križani, to help us pay, like help me pay for my development like courses and help us pay for the food and like everything. His grace and kindness made everything possible for years already, and it was very challenging for me because I never actually asked for anything when I was younger. I always said like I don't want anything. So it was actually lots of money so far, and we're very, very grateful. Thank you, Juraj. God bless you. You are amazing, and also whole family because they're supporting us, all of them. So yeah, so he's the sponsor, but I'm the bridge because he didn't know about this project. Well, we had some budget, and we budget more or less to what we need, and sometimes bigger, sometimes it's like yeah, like my piano that I was going to buy. I'm gonna start playing piano that I'm excited about. But before I paid piano, I actually decided let's do this because I said, oh, we saw on YouTube like a little teacher of history video saying like you can make this little energy device, and we paid for it like little, like $20 or something, but eventually it wasn't what he advertised, and it was like a bit of bullshit, so we got refund. It was supposed to be like what was it, mechanical? Something mechanical and easy that even a child, his daughter, could put together, and you would have forever electricity, not dependent on anything. So I bought it. I said, please, can you do this? Alright, well, let's do it. Then we found out, oh, it's not gonna work. It's actually bullshit. So anyway, then like how long ago? Maybe 2 months ago, 2.5 months ago, I started feeling irritated about this ESCOM as he was going to pay. And I just said, Andrea, it's already so much. Yes, I know. So can you just do something like generator? And he said, yeah, I saw these Indian guys, the video where they connect this is called alternator, right? They connect alternator with something he's going to explain to you, and there's a bell system. So it runs, they just need to kickstart it, and then it just goes on its own. He said, yeah, that should work. And he said, well, if you give me 20,000, I think he said 20,000 rands, which is like $1,000-something for those who don't think rands. What would it be?
$1,500.
$1,500, let's say. He said, yeah, sure. If you give me a go, if you say I can go ahead, what did he say? If you say I can go ahead, then I'll do it. So I said, yes, go ahead. So that's when I changed. I took the money, budgeted for something else, and then I wrote to my family and explained to them, not that the Yura is requiring to know everything, but it wasn't part of the budget, so I just wrote to them in a family letter about this big thing that Andrew's working about. Yeah. So, yeah, he didn't know about it before we paid for this thingy. So that's why he said sponsor me, because it's not my money directly, but it was me who decided, yeah, let's pay for this, because I trust you fully. I know what he can do and I trust him fully that he's gonna get it right. So that was the story. And my questions, yes, I have questions, always. Or let's not be like that. I am very curious kid, so I'd like to ask, you already explain the basic. So let's recap. This one is called alternator.
Yes.
And these two magnetic weights, or the rotors, that have magnets inside, they are called what? Rotors. So this is alternator.
This is the rotor.
Rotor, yeah. So tell me, or tell us, tell everyone, why did you choose red and blue? Because it didn't come this way. You made them red and blue. There's something behind it.
Well, I've spent many years reading through any bit of gnosis I could find, biblical books and spiritual books, anything that I could lay my hands on, I've read. And I have some understanding about the Bible and about how God's design works. And basically I call these two big weights, I call them Moses. I call them Moses and Zephora. And if you know Moses and Zephora, then you'll know that they are basically the two characters of Elohim. So Elohim consists of two characters, a male and a female. And when the male and the female are in balance, then everything works according to God's law. But if they're out of balance, then God's law is not the way it's supposed to be. So I opted to make them blue and red because their colors are blue and red.
Whose colors?
So Moses male is blue and female is red. So the way I see this is that the one side is the motor, which is the force, and the other side is the result or the wisdom, or what the outcome is of the force. So whichever way the force happens, the outcome will be what you require. And basically the two of them have to work in union to be able to produce a result. So the blue I've adapted to the alternator because really that is the result of the wisdom, and the force, the wisdom being basically God's wisdom, and the force being God's force from the woman's side. So it was just a little thing I did because I've basically applied the rules of God's creation when I thought of this thing. So I said in the previous video, I said there's going to be 9 coils. There's actually 8 coils and 16 magnets, each in pairs, in opposite pairs. So they have to work in perfect union. And that's the same union that is prevalent in God's design, in God's design of duality, of male and female. And in the Bible it basically says to you that you have to make them one. So if you look at these two, they are really one. This one is loose on the shaft. You can see it's loose. And the only thing that holds it there is the magnetism from this side. These two are floating from one another. So this one is attached to the alternator, and this one is basically the motor. So this one and this one are attached through magnetism only. See there?
And through, of course, the shaft.
The shaft is
that
basically
doesn't
is the central point.
That doesn't attach them as such.
Well, if you look at it, the male phallus and the female yoni is also basically a shaft, and the yoni fits onto the shaft. So this is really a similar thing, and I said that I could take it to a sexual level in these videos, so that's really what I implied, that the two are representing a male-female combination. Now the male-female combination in this case, because the magnets are all attracting each other, it would be the same as a male and a female attracting each other. And really, when they attract each other and they've joined union and they've joined forces, they're in union. And when they're in union, all that has to happen is that God really needs to control. And this is where the coil comes in, which I would describe as God, because the coils tell the magnets what to do. And the magnets are just reacting to that. So that's the reason why you see I blended it here between red and blue into a purple. Now if you're going to look in the Bible, you'll see that Moses and Zipporah had a description of God describing the mix between blue and red. And that's really where it comes from.
For those who are not from the biblical background or get repelled by it or whatever, we can show them another perception. For example, in light spectrum, the red color is on the lowest spectrum, right? The red and the blue is on top. So even if you look at the light spectrum, it's the same. On the very bottom there's red, and on the very top there's blue. It's like a red earth and the blue sky. If you don't want to look at the Moses or Zipporah, or you think like, hey, I don't know about this, but you can see it in the light spectrum. You can also see it in there. You can also see it in a chakra system. Chakras are energy centers that we all have throughout our body, energetic system we have in our bodies. And the top chakra, alright, that's the purple one actually, but the lower chakras, there is a blue color and there is a red color on the bottom. So it represents the heavens, like the crown of God, but God also needs earth. So it's always like plus and minus. That's what you were describing, the hot and cold. It's like always hot step, cold step. Always break together like that, and we could find probably many examples, right? Is it like, yeah,
that's brilliant. That's absolutely correct what you're saying.
Because
so there's many ways. Any way you look at it, that description of Moses and Zipporah is applicable to anything of our consciousness.
Yeah, it's amazing, because one is like you said, this one is a receptor and this one controls this one, because it's connected to. This is like a proton connected, like you say, protons tied to the God.
Yes. Also, if you look at the Kabbalah,
the tree of life.
The tree of life, you'll see that at the very top of the Kabbalah, there's Kether at the top, and Chokhmah and Bina. And Bina represents the red, and Chokhmah represents the blue, and
alright, we can recap it. It's not like that. It's a Chesed and Gevurah, the other triangle. So you can go.
Well, at the top level, yes, Chesed and Gevurah, but the duality
different colors
of Chesed and of Chokhmah and Kether, because Chokhmah and Kether are always in union. When so Bina joins Chokhmah. Bina doesn't join Kether directly. All right, do you understand that?
Yes, like I already know what you're saying, but yes,
all right.
I do.
So nevertheless, that's everything works from the bottom up. So for God to come to earth, He needs a wife. He needs a woman to anchor Him on earth. Like
when I was in that university that I mentioned that I left after not even a month probably, I first time noticed there where the camera guy on the camera teaching, he told us like, He was explaining how the camera video recorder works, and there was a stand or something. I just remembered so clearly. He said, "This is a female jack or female cable, female connector, and male connector, and one was like a little bit like not like a penis because it wasn't so big, but one was like extruding and one was like a hole." And I thought, wow, that's so sexual. Did anyone else notice that, or is it just me? Like, he just said it like, oh, it's just the female and male, but I was like, he's
Sorry,
saying
darling,
it's
we don't
everywhere.
speak about penises on my channel, please. We call them phalluses.
We call them whatever, but they don't understand the fellows, maybe. Anyway, but it's what everyone comes from. Anyway.
So it's very cool when this thing runs. Alright, these two little LEDs here that are flashing, they never flash at the same time.
They never, yeah? They a little
Never.
bit.
One is on, the other one's off, always.
It just looks like.
Yeah. So, yeah, it just looks like it because of the residual light. So, there's a light sensor here and a light sensor here, which monitors the gaps that you see inside these two discs that I've got on here. So, when the disc is open, the light is on, and when the disc is closed, the light is off.
For me, it helps if you first tell me what is it and then go to the details, because I find it difficult. What is this actually? If you describe it as like this measures what?
Those two lights are connected to the shaft, which is in
What do they do?
line with the magnet, with the coils. So these two lights show us when the coil is positive energized or negative energized. So it's showing the fluctuation between the positive energy and the negative energy, because we're putting between the two magnets, we're putting an opposite energy.
Between the two magnets,
Yeah.
which means
So when the magnet is north on that side and south on this side, then we're putting a north-south equivalent to that in between them so that they repel. When that flashes red, the polarity runs from one side to there in positive. When it flashes green, the polarity is the positive runs from this side to that side. And it crosses the polarity over on the coils. So the coil wires are down here. It switches the polarity, is one time is negative, then it switches the negative to that side, and then back, and then there, and it just keeps fluctuating the coil like that. That's actually also what's generating the electricity inside here. So I have to find a way to take that out and put it into a battery. There's a way, I just don't know what I'm going to do yet. So really, I think, to cut a long story short now and to really end off this video, the system is running, and my next step is now to increase the current on the boards, and I've already done it once and had some problems. The problem is that if you blow one circuit, and these MOSFETs are very sensitive, then it usually blows other components as well. So when I take Katerina to the airport now, she's allowed me to go and get myself a new tachometer so that I can measure the RPM on here, and also get myself a new multimeter, which mine just packed up this week. Seems like everything is just packing up. I thank you very much for watching, taking time to watch this, and I hope that Katerina has an awesome journey to go and see her family and friends all in Slovakia for the first time after 9 years. And Katerina, I have every confidence that we'll see you back here shortly. And thank you for watching, and hit the subscribe. Maybe it'll get more exciting next time.
if your heart tells you to do so.